What's amazing, my friends? Welcome to a new video. I'm honestly so excited to show you guys this. Now, if you've been on my YouTube channel or my TikTok, if you're new, hey, I appreciate that. If you guys don't know, I've been posting so many videos announcing that I have officially created my own superhero universe. I created my own superheroes, my own villains, my own ideas and stories for the future that I have. And I'm just honestly so excited to share this to you guys. And then I'm going to talk about what I have planned for the future and what else I'm going to do. I'm honestly so excited to show this to you guys. Alright, so before we start, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that like button, go follow me on TikTok. I'm so excited to show this to you guys. Let's get started. Alright, y'all, here we go. So, you guys know I created my own superhero cinematic universe. I created my own original superheroes, my own original villains, like my own original characters and my superhero universe. And I created like my own original superhero universe that's not connected or not related to Marvel or DC. And my superhero universe, it's called the Ian Torres Cinematic Universe, or for short, the ITCU, which is basically a reference to the MCU, which is short for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But alright, here we go. I can't wait to show this to you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the characters, what they look like, what superpowers they have, what abilities they have, and of course the backstories about them, and of course the ideas and stories that I have for the future, and like scripts that I'm writing, and of course revealing, showing you guys the team names. Like, of course, you guys know every superhero movie, like whenever superheroes team up as a team, they always gotta have a team name, and I created my own team names for my superheroes and my villains. I will talk a little bit of where I got the ideas from, and of course, like, how did I come up with this name or that, and like what inspired me to make my characters and what inspired me to do this and that. Now, I want to put a little bit of a disclaimer. I drew what the characters should look like, and I drew how they are and what I want them to look like, and obviously I created my characters in this journal, and I have two, and I'm not that good at drawing, but I'm gonna try my hardest best to just show it to you guys of what the characters look like and what I created. But hopefully you guys out there could maybe make some cool fan art for me if you can. But hey, I feel appreciated. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into today's video. Alright, so first off, I'm going to show y'all the superheroes, and then I'll show you guys the villains. But right now, let's go ahead and start off with the superheroes. I'm going to go ahead and introduce the team name, the characters, and of course, explaining their superpowers and abilities and the story. I can't wait to show this to you guys. But anyways, let's go ahead and start off with the superheroes first. So my very first superhero team that I created is the Pirate Penguins. Yep, I am introducing y'all the Pirate Penguins. This is what they look like. This is what I want them to look like. And of course, this is what they are. And here's the one that I made in my journal. This is what I want them to look like. These are the Pirate Penguins. And I'll go ahead and start introducing the characters too. And of course, I'll also do the story as well. And I know a lot of you guys are looking at it saying, oh, it's literally kind of like Ninja Turtles. And yeah, you might be right, but I'm gonna go ahead and explain where I got the idea from and what inspired me to create these characters. So what really inspired me, and where did I get the idea to create the Pirate Penguins and like give it tiny vibes of Ninja Turtles? Well, I remember back in elementary school, I think I was in 5th grade, I had like a class one time. We were playing like this board game called, I forgot what it was called, but it was called like Don't Tilt the Ship, and like there was these like penguin pirate characters that you had to put on the ship to make sure that the ship doesn't like fall or something. And when I had the pirate penguin characters, I was looking at them like, oh, these characters are pretty interesting. And then I had like 4 of them, and of course obviously I was pretending like I was making them act like they were the Ninja Turtles, and then that's what inspired me to create the Pirate Penguins. It was a board game. And originally I wasn't going to call them the Pirate Penguins, I was going to call them the Penguin Warriors, but I changed it to Pirate Penguins because I thought that was sick and awesome. And I didn't want to do the 4 penguins. Instead, I decided to do 6 penguins. Alright, but now let me go ahead and tell you guys the origin story, and I'm going to introduce the characters. Now, let's start off with the characters. Now, the leader of the Pirate Penguins is the purple one. His name is Chadwick. And then obviously the smart one is the green one. His name is Irrfan. And then there's the tough one, who's wearing the white one. His name is Paul. And then there's the brown one. He's obviously the silly, goofy one. His name is Ronald. And then there's a female one who's wearing yellow. Her name is Judy. And of course, there's a red one. His name is Cameron. Now, you guys know in the Ninja Turtles, those turtles, they're named after famous artists. Well, the penguins that I created, they're actually named after famous movie actors, which is these people right here. But alright, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the origin story about the pirate penguins. And of course, it's you obviously know it's Ninja Turtles, but it's completely different. Alright, so the origin story about the pirate penguins, let's go ahead and talk about it. Alright, so here's the origin story about the pirate penguins. So basically the story, like, what if in today's world, what if pirates still existed, but there's good pirates and there's some bad ones? The story actually follows these two human characters that are brothers. One is named Kobe Walter, and the other one is named Vincent Walter. And here's a big plot twist though. Vincent Walter is actually the bad guy, and he changes his name to a supervillain name, which I will show you guys in a minute. But Vincent Walter and Kobe Walter, they are actually sailors, where they end up visiting an icy place that has penguins, and Vincent ends up turning evil, and then he ends up like knocking out his brother, and then starts kidnapping a bunch of penguins. And it turns out Vincent Walter is actually an evil engineer mechanic that builds robots and machines. He actually builds like robot skeletons. Like these robot skeletons, like when they're alive and when they're about to attack, their eyes actually glow like light blue, and they follow his commands. But here's a really crazy, shocking plot twist though. Vincent Walter is taking animal DNA and is putting it in humans, turning them into human-looking animals. And he's also doing that with some animals as well. He's also taking human DNA and putting it in animals, where those animals also turn into human-looking animals. Like, if he takes animal DNA and puts it in humans, the human turns into the animal that the DNA is from. But if he does human DNA and puts in the animal, then the animal turns into a human-looking animal, because it has the human DNA. But here's another crazy, shocking plot twist about Vincent Walter and Kobe Walter. So of course, Vincent Walter is the main bad guy of this story. He ends up taking penguin DNA and putting it in his brother Kobe, and Kobe ends up turning into a mutated penguin. And then Vincent also ends up taking his DNA, which is human DNA, and puts it in 6 baby penguins. That turns them into human-looking baby penguins. I mean, the penguins are still young. Vincent Walter wanted to use the 6 baby penguins and wanted to teach them to be evil. But of course, Kobe didn't want that to happen, so he had to fight his brother. And so Kobe had to save the 6 baby penguins, and he ends up adopting them. And then a couple years later, Kobe ends up changing his name to Captain Kobe, and then he ends up naming the 6 penguins: Chadwick, Irrfan, Paul, Ronald, Judy, and Cameron. They all now live in Galveston, and they actually live in like a hidden cave in Galveston that has like a broken pirate ship in it. As the pirate penguins grew up to become preteens, around like 11 or 12, Captain Kobe starts training them to become hero penguins, and then he ends up giving them pirate weapons. Chadwick obviously has the swords, Irrfan has the spear, Paul has the battle axe, Ronald carries like 2 hooks, Judy's weapon is obviously a bow and arrow, and Cameron, his weapon is obviously a battle hammer. Vincent Walter ends up coming back. He ends up coming to Galveston with this evil skeleton robot crew, and they are now destroying and taking over Galveston. And here comes the crazy part. Vincent Walter ends up killing Captain Kobe. Captain Kobe sadly decided to sacrifice his life for his kids, and only 3 years later, the penguins are now officially teenagers. They are now 15. Chadwick is obviously the leader of the team, and he is trying to keep his brothers and his sisters safe, but Vincent Walter is still coming for them, so they obviously have to fight back and save the city of Galveston. Alright y'all, that's it. That was the origin story about the pirate penguins. Let me know what y'all thought. Before we start off on the next one, I also want to say this. Here's some of the famous catchphrases that they say in the story, the Pirate Penguins. They say, birds of a feather stick together, and they say, arsome. Like, you guys know how pirates, they say ar and stuff like that. So yeah, their catchphrase is arsome, which technically, the idea for that, like, that is supposed to be like a reference to the TV show Street Sharks. You guys remember that show? In that show, they say jawsome, which is kind of funny. Another funny thing though about the pirate penguins, their favorite food that they love to eat, they love eating tamales, which honestly are some foods that I really love to eat. And they also love eating chicken alfredo. That's another food that I love to eat so much. Alright guys, that was the pirate penguins. Now let's move on to the next superhero team and the next superhero characters that I created.